The year was ending again. People like to say that sentence with excitement, as if years leave with fireworks and music. But for me, years don't end loudly anymore. They end quietly, like a clock ticking in an empty room. That night, the city was alive. Cars honking, people shouting countdown numbers they barely believed in. I was sitting alone on the couch, the same couch I had sat on for years, watching reflections of fireworks from a neighbor's window. My phone rang at 9:36 p.m. It was my wife. Her name lit up the screen, and for a moment, I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because routine still comforts old people like me. I answered. Her voice was steady. Too steady. She said, "I won't be able to come home tonight." No panique. No guilt. Just a statement. She explained that work had run late, that things got complicated, that we'd celebrate tomorrow instead. Tomorrow. That word always sounds safe. I said, "That's okay." Because when you've been married long enough, you stop questioning things that feel familiar. Trust becomes automatic. Like breathing. After the call ended, I placed my phone face down on the table and stared at the wall. The clock said 9:41 p.m. There was still time before midnight. I made tea. Not because I wanted it, but because my hands needed something to do. Outside, fireworks cracked early. Impatient people celebrating a future they hadn't even reached yet. I remember thinking how strange it was that so many people needed noise to feel hopeful. At 10:58 p.m., I checked my phone again. No message from her. That was normal. Or at least, it used to be. At 11:17 p.m., a notification appeared. It wasn't her. It was a name I hadn't seen in months. An old friend. Someone who lived in New York. We used to talk often, until life slowly taught us how to drift apart without any arguments. The message read, "Hey, this might sound strange, but are you in New York right now?" I frowned. I typed back, "No." Why? The reply didn't come immediately. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. That pause lasted longer than it should have. At 11:23 p.m., another message arrived. I don't know how to say this. Those are dangerous words. People only say that when something irreversible is about to follow. Then came the photo. I didn't open it right away. My thumb hovered over the screen as if delaying the image could delay reality. Finally, I tapped it. And there she was. My wife. Standing on a street in New York, city lights glowing behind her, fireworks already bursting in the sky. Her coat was the one I bought her 2 winters ago. The scarf was mine. And her hand. Her hand was wrapped around someone else's. Not loosely. Not accidentally. It was the kind of grip you use when you don't want to lose someone in a crowd. The man beside her was tall. Younger than me. Smiling. They were leaning slightly toward each other, as if the rest of the world had politely stepped aside. I didn't feel anger. That surprised me. I didn't feel rage or shock. What I felt instead was a slow, sinking heaviness behind my ribs. Like something had quietly collapsed inside me without making a sound. Another message came in. I saw her by accident. I thought you should know. The clock on my wall ticked. 11:59 p.m. Outside, voices started counting down. 10, 9, 8. I watched the photo again. 7, 6, 5. I zoomed in on her face. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't hiding. She was smiling the way she used to smile at me years ago, when we still believed effort was optional. 4, 3, 2, 1. The city exploded. Fireworks lit up the sky. People screamed and kissed and hugged strangers. And I sat there, holding my phone, realizing that the woman who said she couldn't come home tonight was welcoming the new year in someone else's arms. I didn't cry. Old people don't cry immediately. We pause. We review. We rewind years in seconds. I thought about all the times she said she was tired. All the nights she went to bed early. All the moments I chose silence over asking difficult questions. At 12:07 a.m., my phone buzzed again. A message from her. Happy New Year, heavy black heart hash. I stared at it for a long time. That heart felt heavier than any insult ever could. I didn't reply. I didn't call. I turned off my phone. Because some truths don't need conversations. They need space. I walked to the window. Fireworks painted the sky in colors that used to mean hope. Now they just look temporary. I realized something painful in that moment. She didn't forget about me. She remembered me and chose differently. That's what betrayal really is. Not confusion. Not mistakes. Choice. I went to the bedroom, straightened the blanket on her side of the bed, and then slept on the couch. Not because I was angry, but because I already knew that some distances can't be crossed back. As the noise outside slowly faded, I lay there in the dark thinking about how strange it is that a year can end without warning you about what it's about to take. Morning arrived without asking for permission. No alarms. No sunlight bursting through the curtains. Just a pale, quiet light creeping into the room like it was unsure whether it was welcome. I woke up on the couch. My back hurt. Not from age. From the way I had slept, half alert, half awake, as if my body didn't trust the world enough to fully rest. For a moment, I forgot. That happens sometimes. The mind gives you a few seconds of mercy before it hands everything back. Then I remembered the photo. The street. The lights. Her hand in someone else's. The memory settled into me like cold weather in old bones. I sat up slowly and listened. No footsteps. No movement. The house was still empty. I checked the clock. 8:41 a.m. I didn't reach for my phone right away. That surprised me. There was a time when I would have checked it first thing, hoping for explanations, apologies, anything that could soften the truth. But hope had already packed its bags. I went to the kitchen and made coffee. The same way I always did. 1 scoop too many. Water slightly too hot. Routine is a strange thing. Even when your life cracks open, routine stands there calmly, asking if you'd like things done the usual way. I carried my coffee to the table and finally turned my phone back on. There were messages. 3 from her. The first said, "I'm sorry I didn't make it home last night." The second, "We need to talk." The third, "Please don't misunderstand." That one almost made me smile. People always ask not to be misunderstood when they understand exactly what they did. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because words felt unnecessary. By the time you reach my age, you learn something important. Explanations don't heal betrayal. They only rearrange it. Around noon, I heard keys at the door. I didn't move. I stayed where I was, sitting at the table, coffee long gone cold. The door opened. She stepped inside quietly, as if silence could soften impact. She looked tired. Her hair was slightly messy. Her coat still smelled like the outside world. She saw me and froze. For a moment, we just looked at each other. Years of shared history standing awkwardly in the space between us. She started talking immediately. That's how people do it when they're afraid of pauses. She said it wasn't planned. That it just happened. That she felt lonely. That she didn't mean to hurt me. She said my name more times than she had in months. I listened. Not because I believed her, but because interrupting felt cruel. When she finished, the room felt heavier. I asked her only one question. Were you ever going to tell me? She opened her mouth, closed it, looked down. Silence answered for her. I nodded. Not in anger. In understanding. I said something I hadn't planned to say. I hope he was worth it. She looked up sharply, as if she had expected shouting instead. People prepare for storms. They don't prepare for calm. She asked me what I meant. I stood up slowly and walked past her toward the hallway. I mean, I said, whatever you were looking for. I hope you found it. Because you lost something real to get it. That night, I slept on the couch again. Not because she asked me to, but because beds hold memories, and I wasn't ready to lie beside them. Days passed. Then weeks. We spoke less. Not out of hatred. Out of exhaustion. Betrayal doesn't explode relationships instantly. It drains them. Conversation by conversation. Meal by meal. I stopped asking where she was going. She stopped explaining. And somewhere in that quiet distance, I realized something important. I wasn't angry anymore. I was clear. Clarity is dangerous. Because once you see things as they are, you can't pretend you don't. One afternoon, I found myself sorting through old photos. Not to torture myself, but to understand where things changed. I saw younger versions of us, smiling without effort, touching without hesitation. I didn't feel sadness. I felt gratitude. Because love that once existed doesn't become fake just because it ends. A month later, we sat down at the same table where I had received that photo.
No shouting, no accusations.
Just two people acknowledging that something had already ended before anyone admitted it. We agreed to separate. Not dramatically. Quietly. Like adults who finally understood that staying would only turn resentment into a permanent resident. When she moved out, the house felt larger. Not emptier. Just quieter. I rearranged things. Moved the couch. Changed the curtains. I wanted the space to feel like mine again. Some nights, I still hear fireworks in the distance. Celebrations. Weddings. New Year's beginning somewhere else. They don't hurt anymore. They remind me. People think betrayal destroys you. It doesn't. It reveals you. It shows you what you're willing to tolerate, and what you're finally brave enough to walk away from. I don't hate her. Hate requires energy. I chose peace instead. These days, when people ask me about love, I don't speak about loyalty or promises. I speak about choice. Because love isn't what people say. It's what they choose to protect when no one is watching. The new year came again after that. No fireworks outside my window this time. Just quiet. And for the first time in a long while, quiet felt honest.